And okay, all right. Hi, friends. So this is Miss Tara from the Warrensville Public Library. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I know that most of you are having a vacation day today, so we appreciate you joining us as well. For some of you, if it isn't, that's okay too, because we're going to have some fun today. So as you can see, I have my mask on. That's because I am working from the library today. So I'm keeping myself and other patrons safe by wearing that. I know sometimes we have these programs and you see I don't have the mask on, and I just want to make the distinction that when I have the mask on, it's because I'm working from work, and if I don't have the mask on, that's because I'm working from home. So firstly, you guys are doing a great job already so far, but let's go over just a couple of the rules of the program. Please make sure that your audio stays off for this program until the end. What we can do is when we come to the couple challenges in between, we at that time can take turns and we can turn our audio on at that point. And then that way you can describe to me what you've done or what you've learned. But in the middle, we'll have the audio off just so that way you can hear me clearly, especially because I'm speaking through this. Then that way it doesn't get all jarbled and you can't hear me. So the next thing, as I mentioned before, we are recording this program as well. So if at any time you need to get up, need to go get a drink or anything at all, you're more than welcome to turn the camera off. I will not be offended. And you can always come back and turn it back on or leave it off if you'd like. But you are here today at Imagination Station. So raise your hand if you're excited. Yes! I know, I'm excited too. I'm so excited that you guys are here. This is wonderful. It made my Monday, so I appreciate it. So today, our story is going to be titled Hide and Seek in the Enchanted Land. Now, who's come to our program before for Imagination Station, whether that was in person or on Zoom? Very good. Okay, so that means that you guys know that all of our stories take place in Twintopia, which is an amazing country that has all different areas and all different sights to see. And each time that we read our stories, we go to a different place in Twintopia. So today we're going to the Enchanted Land. So we're going to go ahead and start to read our story, and then we're going to take our pauses, and at that time we'll kind of describe what we're going to do for that activity. Can I have a thumbs up if we're ready to start to hear the beginning of the story? Very good. Okay. So long ago, in a faraway land named Twintonia, Molly and her friend, Ron, loved to play hide and seek. Ever since they were little, the two would hide from each other every chance that they could. Now at ages 9 and 10, they would still play their favorite game no matter the time and no matter the season. So if they wanted to go out and play in the snow, they would. If it was a super hot day, they would also go play out. Maybe they'd play in the leaves. Who loves that? Does anyone love to play in leaves? Has anyone ever tried that before? How about playing in the snow? Who likes to play in the snow? Yeah, me too. How about when it's super hot out in the summer? Do you still go outside? Do you go to the pool or play with the sprinkler or any of that sometimes? Yeah? As soon as they would see one another, Molly would bolt away, shouting, "Bet you won't find me." Ron would look under couches, over tables, inside closets, outside of houses, and more often than not, he would find Molly quickly. Molly was never too happy about being found so fast. "How do you find me so easily? I always pick the best spots," she'd say with a grimace. Who can show me what they think a grimace is? What do you think a grimace is? It's an expression on your face. Do you think you look really happy when you have a grimace, or do you think you look kind of annoyed or angry? You're like, you can't see it under my mask, but I'm doing it. "What do you mean?" Ron would counter. "I can always see where you're hiding. Your foot sticks out, or I see your arm. How can those be the best spots if I can always see where you are?" This normally led to Molly stomping off in a huff until the next time they would play. So on November 21st, which was only a couple days ago, everything changed. Ron was reading his favorite book in his living room, and suddenly the doorbell rang. Ding! He sat the book down on the table and opened the front door. It was Molly, dressed in her favorite blue coat, fuzzy hat, snow boots, and purple mittens. This was surprising because it wasn't cold out, but Molly was bundled up for snow. Wonder what that means, friends. Who can tell me in the chat? If your friend showed up all bundled up for snow, but it wasn't cold out, what do you think's going to have happen? What do you think will happen? Who can give me a guess in the chat? There's no wrong guesses either, especially at Imagination Station. What do you think? Lila, I know you think something. No? Well, that's okay. Let's see. How about Ron? What do you think would happen if you had a friend showed up who was bundled up for snow, but it's not even cold out? What do you think? Ron says, I guess she will try to camouflage herself and go in a pile of clothes. That's a good guess. 100% that's a good guess. Well, let's see what happens here. Hi, Molly, said Ron. Want to come in? No, she said, but you should get a coat and come outside. We're going on an adventure. An adventure? What type? A hide-and-seek adventure in the Enchanted Land. I bet I can win there. There's lots of things to hide under and behind. So Ron smiled. There was no way that she'd win against him. She'd lost almost every game they've ever played. Okay, you're on. I'll meet you outside. Ron ran to grab his coat and gloves, then ran back out the door. Molly was gone. He stepped outside and noticed a large, glimmering portal full of yellow and orange light. It streamed over his head towards the sky. He was nervous to enter, but he wanted to follow Molly. Do you think if you saw a large portal like that, do you think you'd follow your friend or would you stay home? What do you think you would do? Can let us know. Lila, she said she'd go with her friend, right? Don't worry, I read your lips. I can't hear you. Ron, what do you think? Would you go in the portal or would you stay home? You'd stay home. Sometimes that would be the safer option for sure. As he stepped closer to the portal, he noticed a paper and pencil on the ground with a note from Molly that said, "This will help you find me." And as he looked closer, he discovered that it was a secret message that he had to decode. I wonder what it says, he mumbled to himself. So we are at our first challenge pause. Who can freeze like they're stuck in a block of ice? Very good. It's fun to do that sometimes. All right, so our first challenge is going to be this. So I actually have my paper folded because I've got the right answer on the other side. So I want you to take your printout, and on the top it says Chinese proverbs, okay? It says decipher this famous proverb using the secret code below. And you'll see a bunch of numbers with lines, okay? And then you'll also see on the bottom a bunch of numbers associated with a letter. So when you go ahead and you look at this, on the top has all these numbers, right? All on the top there. On the bottom it has all these letters. So for example, I know it's backwards, friends, but bear with me. Number 1 stands for J. Number 2 goes with A. Number 3 goes with O, and so on and so on. So what we're going to do is we're going to have you look at the lines on the top of the page, like I said, that I have folded over. And what I want you to do is, like, let's say the first one, we'll look at this together. The first one is the number 2. Okay, so if you're looking at your code cracker on the bottom, what letter goes with the number 2? Can someone type that into the chat for me and let me know? Ah, very good. A. So your very first letter in our decoder that we're doing is the letter A. So what we're going to do is it's 5:45. I'm going to give us until 6 o'clock, okay, to decode this message from Molly to her friend Ron. And it's going to help us decipher where Molly might be. Or maybe she's just throwing him off the trail. We never know. But this is our first challenge. So like I said, I'll give you guys until 6. Let me know if you have any questions in the chat, okay? And then we'll meet back up at 6 and discuss what we found out. Thumbs up? Awesome. Okay, hop to it. Hi. Okay, so let's see. All right, I was making sure that we had both friends back. So have both friends finished? Yeah? Okay. So are you guys okay with me reading the correct answer then for the code? Okay, so the correct answer is a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Now, who wants to take a guess? I know that's a big phrase. Who wants to take a guess in the chat of what they think that means? What do you think that phrase means? And there's no wrong answer here at all. This is more just us being creative at Imagination Station and trying to think about what that might mean. So I'll read it again a couple times while you're thinking. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So it's got to be a long journey if it has 1,000 miles in it, right? Yeah. Well, here, while you're thinking, I'll tell you what my interpretation of it is, okay? So we know that in this code that we've just cracked, which you guys just did amazing with, it's kind of a longer phrase, and you're thinking, wow, this person is walking a lot of miles. I wonder what this means. So what it's kind of thinking of in this phrase is anything that we do in life might take a lot of work. It's kind of like working on a school project. It might have a bunch of steps. It might take a lot of time, but you always have to start somewhere, right? So what they're saying in this proverb is, so you'd have a journey that's 1,000 miles long, but as long as you get started with the first step, you're going to be a-okay. And that is what Molly wanted Ron to know, because who remembers where Ron was before when we just ended and took a pause for our activity? What was Ron going to do, or what was he afraid to do? Does anyone remember? Could tell me in the chat. That's okay, Lila. If you don't remember, that's a-okay, because we'll catch us up here. Because I know this story moves a little faster too, so that's a-okay. I can't hear you, Lila. I'm reading your lips though. Ah, yes. Okay, so Ron said, Ron, not our Ron, but Ron in the story, he was at the portal. It's very true. So he had just walked up to, I'll go back just a little bit. Right here, he was noticing a large glimmering portal full of yellow and orange light. And it streamed over his head towards the sky, and he was nervous to enter, but he wanted to follow his friend. So now that you guys cracked the code, we can move on to our next part of the story. So thumbs up for you guys. You were fantastic with that. With the last letter in place, which you just did, Ron read Molly's secret message out loud. And we know that our secret message was a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. But then that part of the phrase that we just cracked, underneath there was another piece of paper. Ron thought, what is this? So he pulled that paper out, and at the end there was a second secret message, guys. A second one? Except this one is already figured out. You don't have to figure this one out. The second secret message read, meet me at the top, that's where I'm hiding. Oh, the top, thought Ron. The top of what? Ron wasn't sure exactly what Molly meant, but he knew that he'd find out soon. He clutched the paper as he walked through the portal. Quickly, the ground moved away from him, and he screamed! He was scared. He was floating in the air, but soaring at the same time like a bird, flying faster and higher and farther away from home. He shielded his eyes as ribbons of every color cascaded towards him from above, and with an oof, he fell outside the portal and back on the ground. Ron's vision was blurry. With his fingers, he felt waxy blades of grass. Ahead of him, he could see a light gray sort of blob. His eyes slowly cleared, and ahead of him, he saw a gigantic mountain. The sky behind the mountain was violet, and the air smelled like lemon. This was the enchanted land. It must be, he thought. An unknown voice called out to Ron, "Are you ready to play hide and seek?" "Who's that?" Ron yelled back. "Amelia. I'm the queen of this land. Molly is waiting for you to find her. Are you ready? Ron had almost forgotten about finding Molly, and he couldn't see the queen. He looked down at his paper. It says that she's at the top, he questioned. Okay, said Amelia with a smile. I'll transport you there. That's pretty cool, huh? Ron only got halfway through saying thank you before he was moving so fast he could barely breathe. In 3 seconds flat, he was at the top of the mountain, looking down on the lush green of the enchanted land. Everything looked very small from the top. Molly, Queen Amelia? There was no response. Ron searched behind large rocks, in 2 dark and damp caves, under a group of shady trees, around a massive blue lake, and over a field. Ron could not find Molly anywhere. The sky was now a deep purple, and Ron was tired of playing hide and seek. He just wanted to go home. Okay, Molly, you win. Come out now, said Ron. 50 feet away, Molly sat up from the snow. As she walked over, Ron could see that she had had some help from the queen with hiding. Her coat and boots were white, and her face and hat were painted green. She had the perfect camouflage. Good job, Ron. When you said earlier about how she would camouflage herself with the clothes, that was a good guess. You win, said Ron. Great job. Thanks, said Molly. You know what the best part of the mountain is? What? Replied Ron. Getting ourselves home. And with that, the portal reopened where Ron started his journey at the bottom of the mountain. It looked like a speck from where she stood. But how will we get there? Ron asked. We'll roll our way down in our sphere ships. Ron's eyes bugged out of his head. She was crazy. Then multicolored pieces of track appeared mid-air, floating as if they were waiting their turn. So we're at our next freeze. Who can freeze with me? Freeze! Very good. All right, so this is your next challenge. So I'm going to give you a couple different options because we're not in person. So normally when we would be in person, we actually have a marble track that you guys would build and you would race marbles down the track, and that's how you would get your characters home. Obviously, because we're in different places right now, we can't do that. So I'm going to give you 2 different options. Either A, you can build what you think the mountain and the track might look like to get them down to the bottom through the portal with either Legos or building blocks or Kiva planks, anything that you really have at home. Anything you'd like to use, you could use. Or you can use construction paper and colored pencils or computer printer paper, like any white paper and pencils or markers, and you can draw for us the mountain and what you think the actual track would look like, or the spheres. They're actually going to ride in these sphere cars, which are pretty cool. So you can draw those out if you'd like, or you can build what you think it would look like, and then we'll discuss it when we're done. Sound good? Thumbs up? Awesome. So let's see, it's 6:08. So I will give us until, let's say until 6:25 for this, because I know it takes a little bit more time. Okay? So we have a good chunk of time, and I'll check back in and I'll let you guys know when we're getting close. All right? All right, see you in a little bit. See. All right, so we're going to get started again here just because I don't want to run us over too much longer over 6:30. So is it okay if we go ahead and show what we made real quick and then we finish the end of the story? Okay. Who would like to go first? Okay. All right, so Lila, we'll have you go first, okay? Oh, there you go.
This is a tower. It has 3 plants.
Ooh.
And it has 1 flower right there on the stick, and it has a light right there. It has a light right there. It has a light right there, and it has a light right there. And on the other side, it looks like this.
Wow, Lila, I love that. You did such an amazing job, and I love how you kind of thought about how that would look in your story.
Yep, I am. a good one, but sometimes I'm not when I'm shy.
Oh, that's okay. I get like that too. So you did a great job with sharing, and I really appreciate that. So let's
And I
go.
know what I could do because I know this will look amazing to you. And
Aw.
my
Well, it does. I bet to both of us it looks fantastic. I really like it for sure.
yes,
You did a good job. Thank you. All right, let's see. Ron, would you like to share? Okay.
So I created how they would go down the mountain.
Okay.
So they would start on the top. I'm sorry, it's very blurry.
Oh, no, you're fine.
They'll start on the top. They'll go loop around the mountain
Wow.
and the bottom.
Oh my gosh. You did fantastic with that. Would you mind holding it up one more time for me? Because it looks really good. I think Lila liked it too. That is fantastic. So it says they start up up here and then they go around the mountain. Awesome. I love how you drew that out. You know what that really reminds me of? It reminds me of an engineer's blueprint. You did a fantastic job with that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm very proud of you both. You guys did great. All right, so real quick, I'm just going to read you the end of the story, okay? Because I don't want to keep you on too long after 6:30. Okay, let me just find this real quick. All right. With the track built, Molly and Ron hopped into their sphere cycles. Encased in glass, the world whizzed by as their vehicles moved down the track, spinning and turning before finally flying into the portal. The day of hide and seek was a monumental success, and both Molly and Ron learned that sometimes we all win. The end. Did you guys enjoy that story? Awesome. Very good. I'm so glad to hear that. Well, listen, we are going to end for today. I hope that you'll join us again at our next Imagination Station. You guys will see it go up on Facebook in the next couple days, but we normally do them every 2 weeks. I know it's a little different because it's December, so I just have to double check my calendar, but I believe we are going to have it one more time before it gets later in the month. And also, I know that Lila sometimes attends them, but Ron, if you're ever interested, we do STEM programs on Fridays, normally at 5:30, and we have kits that you can pick up from the library to do those. So if you're ever interested in those, you can always let your grown-ups know that they can email us and ask about it. It might be something that you might really like too. So it was great to see you both, and I'll see you guys again soon, okay? And I'll make sure to send an email out for our next date. Bye. It was nice to see you.